Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Fitra Ramadan and today I'll be presenting our research titled A Comparative Analysis of Machine Learning Models for Aircraft Engine Remaining Useful Life Prediction. Introduction. In the aviation industry, the reliability of aircraft engines isn't just a matter of cost, it's a paramount component of operational safety. For decades, maintenance was either reactive, which fixing things after they break, or based on rigid fixed schedules. Both of these approaches are incredibly inefficient. They can lead to costly unexpected failures or just as bad, the premature replacements of perfectly healthy components. The modern solution to this is Prognostics and Health Management or PHM. This framework enables predictive maintenance, and the core challenge of any predictive maintenance system is to look at engine sensor data and accurately predict its remaining useful life or RUL. Our research objective. So our primary goal was to systematically test and compare how different machine learning models perform at this RUL prediction test. We wanted to answer two key questions. First, how do different types of models, from a simple linear regression to a non-parametric model like key nearest neighbors, to a powerful ensemble model like XGBoost, stack up against each other? And second, what is the true impact of data preprocessing? To test this, we investigated 12 unique preprocessing pipelines. For all our experiments, we used the industry standard benchmark for this problem, the NASA CMAPS dataset. For those unfamiliar with it, the CMAPS dataset is a high-fidelity simulation of a commercial turbofan engine. It provides multivariate time series data for an entire fleet of engines. For each flight cycle, we get 21 different sensor measurements and 3 operational settings. Most importantly, each time series in the training set represents a complete run-to-failure trajectory, which is exactly what we need for supervised learning. The dataset is also split into 4 subsets with increasing complexity, from a single fault mode in FD001 up to multiple fault modes at operating conditions in FD004. This makes it an excellent testbed for the robustness of our models. Methodology, the experiment. For each of those 4 datasets, we ran 36 distinct experiments. This was a combination of our 3 regressor models and 12 preprocessing pipelines. The models, as I mentioned, were linear regression to serve as a simple performance baseline, k nearest neighbors for an instance-based non-parametric approach, and XGBoost to represent modern high-performance ensemble methods. The 12 pipelines were a combination of 4 denoising methods, ranging from doing nothing at all to simple moving average, to exponentially weighted moving average, to an advanced wavelet denoising. And 3 scaling methods, which is standardization, min-max scaling, and robust scaling. This factorial design allows us to isolate the impact of each choice. Methodology, experimental workflow. If you look at the workflow diagram, our process was designed to be rigorous and, most importantly, to prevent any data leakage. During the training phase, we would apply a denoising filter to the trained dataset, and then critically we would fit the scalar only on that denoised training dataset. The model is then trained on this fully transformed data. For the testing phase, the test data goes through the identical process. It's denoised and then transformed using the scalar that was already fitted from the training data set. This ensures our model is evaluated fairly, just as it would be in a real-world scenario where it has never seen the future. This brings us to our first and perhaps most surprising key finding. The choice of preprocessing strategy turned out to be more critical to success than the choice of model. If you look at figure on the left, the results from the wavelet denoising technique were terrible. This advanced method, which is supposed to give a cleaner signal, was consistently detrimental. It severely degraded performance, causing the average RMSE to skyrocket to nearly 80. And the best performance, a simple moving average filter, and in fact, doing no denoising at all, they were nearly identical in performance. As you can see in figure on the right, our secondary finding was that the choice of scaling method, whether standard, min-max, or robust, had a negligible impact. The models just didn't care. So why did this advanced filter fail so badly? Our hypothesis is that the wavelet filter didn't just remove noise, it removed critical prognostic information. We believe that the noise in the CMAP sensor data actually contains important high-frequency signatures, things like subtle vibrations or component clubbing. There are the very first signal of a developing fault. The filter, in its attempt to create a clean signal, scrubbed this vital information away, leaving the models with data that was information poor. The lesson here is clear. Aggressive data cleaning can be counterproductive. You must always validate your preprocessing steps to ensure proper preprocess dataset. Now, that's not to say that the model choice is irrelevant. Our second key finding is that the model choice becomes critical as the data complexity increases. If you look at this figure, on the simple FD00 001 dataset, you can see all three models perform about the same. The problem was simple enough for anyone to solve, but look at what happens on FD003, which introduced multiple fault modes. A clear divergence occurs. XGBoost proved to be the most robust, easily handling the nonlinear interaction of the different faults with an RMSE of 46.6. In contrast, linear regression and KNN simply could not capture this complexity, and their error rates just jumped significantly. This shows the clear value of using a more powerful model when the underlying problem is complex. Conclusion and key takeaways. So to conclude, I have 4 takeaways for you today. The preprocessing strategy, particularly denoising, had a more substantial impact on our results than the final choice of algorithm. The modern machine learning models, particularly XGBoost, are highly robust to erode sensor noise. For this type of prognostic data, a minimal moving average or even no denoising approach is optimal. Aggressive filtering can be detrimental. And finally, while preprocessing is key for complex multi-fault scenarios, a nonlinear model like XGBoost is the clear superior choice. Looking forward, we see 3 clear paths for future research. First, we'd like to explore models specifically designed for temporal data, such as recurrent neural network like LSTMs or GRUs, which might better capture the time-based dependencies. Second, we don't want to dismiss wavelet denoising entirely. A more careful tuning of its parameters might allow us to isolate and preserve that key prognostic information we lost. And finally, we'd like to compare these results against other advanced filtering techniques like Kalman filters. Thank you all for your time and attention.